Hi, welcome to Web Design Project. This is a list of suggestions how you should use this video. The notes for this video can be found here at this URL, which is loaded here. And we are working on this, so I'm going to close this. I opened it too many times. Okay, now we want to change this file to make it look like this. Okay, and remember we have copied all the images into the images subfolder. So we are going to start working on that. Okay. All right. So let's open up our Dreamweaver, and we have our index file open here. Okay. I probably can make it smaller so that we don't have to. So I can see the differences. I can see the changes when I make some changes. Okay, of course, people will be like, hey, you have this live view here. Why do you need to look at the output, right? It's because although Dreamweaver has a live view, its live view is not exactly the same as the view provided by the web browsers. Okay, although they follow the same standardization documents, they are still built by different software companies. So I always like to look at the the actual view in the web browser. Okay. All right. So I'm going to work on the index file. So I'm going to close the file panel and I just focus on the index file. So the first thing I want to do, I want to get rid of this. Second thing is when you build websites like this, it's good to have an idea what you want to do, right? So this is your navigation, is your nav. This is your header. This is your content. And this is your footer. So we're going to do that real quick. Let me just move this one up. So this is your nav semantic tag. Okay, so they follow something. Then you have your header. And then you have your content, which is your main. Okay. And then you have your footer. The first thing we want to put in is what is in the nav. And what we can do is I can just simply put an image there. But before you do anything in Bootstrap Framework, you have to put a class called container. This is one of the Bootstrap Framework class. Okay, you have to do it. And then for each row, you have to put a class called row. Okay, if you want to know about the documentation, you can go to the Bootstrap page and read about that. And then I finally can put my image link there. Okay, so the image is here. I'm going to put my image 01, index 01 there. Of course, you'll be like, hey, that is not a real HTML. We're going to do the navigation later, but right now we just want to finish the layout. So we just say that this is the image. It has to be fluid, so it changes. And the source is in the images subfolder, and that is my index 01. So I put ALT tag there. Later you can fill it out for people with disabilities or cannot see properly. And then when you see that it changes on top, and if you reload here, it's changed as well. Okay, great. But if you're like, hey, this is different from what we have here because we have a really nice background. Okay, so we want to put in the background. But before we put in the background, we have to have the background image here. So our background is here. So what I need to do is switch off all other things first, and then just look at the background. And then we can just export the background image. We are going to do a file, export as of the background image, JPEG 7, really big, export into C drive, PAM, Web Design 2026, 33 navigation, images. We are just going to call it background. Okay. After that, we can switch on everything else and come back here. If we look at the background, we have this background here. So we can make use of it to make the website actually look like that. Okay, so let's go back to the Dreamweaver. And then we are going to do the background. But the background is not here. It's actually in style.css. Okay, I have a lot of things going on. Let me just save. Let me close this. I have all this stuff on top. Let me close this and double click to open it again. Sorry, double click to open it again. All right, the top menu bar looks better now because I just want to go to styles. I don't want to go to all the different instances that happen. So if you go to styles, which is linked here, you actually look at the style file in, you're actually looking at the style file here. Okay. So we are going to start coding some stuff. The first thing I want to code, let's do the, obviously style has no preview. So the top actually doesn't really matter. If you go to the body of the style and put in the body tag, you can say, I want background color to be something really dark. Let me see if I have my color here, like almost black, which I copy my colors here. The color is also available in the my design page under create folders and all that. So I copy all that into the notes so I can use it. Okay. All right. So I say my background is almost black, and file save all, or Control S to save. Reload, I change the background. The second thing I want to do, I want to actually put in the background image. So what I do is I say my background image is URL images background semicolon. Control S to save. And when you reload, you actually have a big background image. But the background image doesn't resize, so it's really weird. So we have to fix that. So I say on the background to repeat. And then I want to cover it. Basically, this means resize with browser window. Control S to save. Control S to save. So I'm going to do a lot of Control S, okay? Fast save. And when you do that and reload, you realize your background image actually resize with the size of the browser. And they repeats. Okay, so that's really cool, right? Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to do some housekeeping in the CSS file. The first thing I want to do is I say the container of the CSS is 100%. Okay, and then the next thing I want to do, I mean, you can make it smaller later, but by default it's that, so now you can. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to do some housekeeping just in case somebody use old Internet Explorer or some Microsoft stuff. No border. Sorry, I cannot spell border. Okay. And then I'm going to do all the links. So the links are going to use the same color of my text, which I decided that my text is going to be FD, 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 and so on and so forth, okay? So let me just copy this. And then my link is going to be almost white, and then there's no underline, so my text decoration is nothing. No underline, you don't have that ugly blue line. And then let me just quickly do the, sorry, I think probably there's a, so we are going to take care of the link, Control C, and we are going to take care of the visitor link. Okay, and then we are going to say if you hover, the color is going to be slightly different. We are going to do some yellowish color when you hover. And then if you, for the active link, we just say text decoration done, okay? So that's a very good kind of housekeeping here. File save, Control S to save. And in the body, we are also going to do, we use a lot of Verdana in this file here. So these are all Verdana. So we are going to do Verdana. And then every browser should have Verdana, but to be safe, we are just going to add another backup if Verdana is not available. Okay. Color, of course, if is our FD. For the text, slightly white background color is the same. URL is there. Repeat, cover. Okay, the last thing I want to do is this top navigation is touching the top of the browser, which is really not nice. So what we are going to do is we're going to add a margin. Sorry. We are going to say my nav is going to have a margin top of 2 pixels. Control S to save, reload. So there's a little gap here, which make it a little more interesting. And then I'm going to add a margin bottom at the bottom of the body, so that there is always some space if you with the bottom of the content. Okay. All right. So that is, I don't want that. Okay, so we finished the background and did some housekeeping on the basic CSS. Probably is a good time to do a validation. Okay, so you can always go to CSS validator. To do a file upload, browse, C drive, temp, web design, 33, CSS, check. It should have no error, so your CSS code is good. It's always a good idea to do a HTML validation of your index file. Same thing. You should have no error as well. Okay. All right. My video is getting too long, so the next thing we are going to do is we are just going to start coding and put all the visual elements here. Okay. And I have to pause here. My video is getting too long, and we are going to continue soon. We'll be right back. See you in a minute.